I don't get it. Seiko Sikara.
You're back. Well, what do you think it is? Oh, yes, it's Ben's. So, well, you then especially again, I don't know how it works, but I'm told doesn't matter if you ingest. Yeah, well, there it is. Did you find Tuco? Damn it, on your hand. I guess I owe you some training, Boot.
Welcome. How much there are?
Hmm.
Sector weather alert. A large sandstorm is approaching. Sector weather alert. A large sandstorm is approaching. Sector weather alert. A large sandstorm is approaching.
Screw it, I'll go do the run 2 more times. Don't bother me. That's still good over there. All that. See if I see any spice before I go out. None that I can see. Okay, 4's not that bad. What? Guess that's in rotation right now. This is in K4. those two, the agave seeds. What I need to gather. Let's do.
Using is the sugar wire claw. Now, you could go a lot of directions with this. The gravity field is actually quite impressive as a third item for melee because it drains their power pack, which would make it easier for you to destroy their shields. Now, you could also go into the Mentat and do Gravity Mine. Now, people don't like mines because some people just don't like the mines, but you can trigger the mines yourself, so they're actually really good for setting up a path. If you throw a grenade, people know it's coming and they move. But with the mines, you can wait till they stop moving, and then you can hit it, and then they're kind of held in place. So mines, I think, aren't just being used effectively in a lot of videos, so this is something that I've actually been quite interested in. Now, I was doing a bunch of capstones, so you can ignore all this. I'm going to re-roll my character here pretty soon. I did all my capstones on my things. I would never do any of these things. For my techniques, you can see I'm using Prana Bendu Stability. What this does is reduce poise damage to the... It takes more poise damage to hit you so that a slow blade attack can penetrate. So this reduces the amount of times people can penetrate you. Good in all avenues of life, I suppose. For my second ability, of course, I'm using Discipline Breathing, Stamina Recovery. And for my third ability right now, I'm using Trauma Recovery just because it makes the most sense. But sometimes I alternate the Sugar Wire for Litany Against Fear, as it also reduces poise damage. So this is a really good setup, and that's actually what we're going to use in the video. And your third ability is really going to be like kind of mission specific, right? So Trauma Recovery is a really, really good one if you're trying to heal real quickly. If you're going up against Bene Gesserits, you're going to want to go into the Mentat's Iron Will. That's a one I roll sometimes because people are using the Bene Gesserit abilities outside of combat. For passives, I am going max blade damage, a little bit of short. Sometimes I switch between swords and daggers. It depends if I'm fighting a lot of enemies. Swords have the ability to hit multiple targets, whereas daggers do not. Max out your vitality. I haven't quite gotten there yet, but I will. This is a brand new character, so I'm still getting everything up. Self-healing is, if you have the points, do it. Recovery, healing, regeneration limit, I've increased that to max. Now, when you're playing, you can go two routes, metabolized poison or the passive poison tolerance. Don't do both because there's like a weird thing going on with metabolized poison where it takes longer and you use more stamina. If you have this poison tolerance maxed out, it's really, really weird the way that they work. Technically speaking, I would not even use the technique metabolized poison at all. I would just use the passive because it allows you to have another technique, and that's quite honestly really, really valuable. So it's a lot of points, but poison tolerance is pretty darn important out in all of these fightings. Then going down the swordsman, Max out optimize hydration for the hydration stamina bonus. It gives you more stamina. Stamina is incredibly important. Field medicine. This is one I do plan on leveling because this is really beneficial. In fact, let's put 1 point into that. I don't put a single point into desert conditioning because I'm never dehydrated. Max out general conditioning to get that stamina boost. Prescient strikes, all of these passives up here, damage mitigation, I max those out. Very good for PvP combat for the Spice Melange. Max out your blade damage here. Long blade damage, I just have 1 point. I will eventually max that one out too. Well, yeah, just an overall really good setup. Basically maxed stamina. And everything else is just very modest. Again, I'm going to re-roll some of these abilities. I need to get a little bit higher level. But that's the swordsman that I'm using. Now for gear. We're rolling with just the Jolt Sword. I do have a dagger that's pretty darn good. We're using an Adept Disruptor Pistol. This is good for taking down shields in PvP. 5 Fingers Triple Shot Rifle. Dune Watcher Sniper. This is a Flustinium grade sniper rifle. All really good stuff right here. Now the armor set that I'm using, and I need to get into a set, is all Syndicate, except for the boots, which I haven't gotten the Syndicate boots now. Syndicate armor is the best armor in the game. I had this pretty big misconception that heavy armor was like a really good way to go, because if you look at your character stats, you'll see, oh, I have 1500 armor mitigation. And PvP damage is reduced by around 66%. Without going into a lot of the math, because the math is going to change and I don't think it's going to do you any good, the difference between damage taken in heavy armor and light armor in PvP is around like 2 to 3% for some of the testing that we were doing. It's marginal. And if you wear heavy armor like you can see here, you get a dash stamina cost increase. But with the Syndicate, you get a dash stamina cost decrease. You also get energy, fire, blade, and poison mitigation, along with some modest heat protection. That helps you from energy damage like disruptors, fire damage like flamethrowers, blades, which is super important because you're going to be slow blading through your shield, and more poison mitigation, which is a common PvP thing, and PvE, that they're using poisons. This is pretty much the best armor set in the game, and you farm all of it in the down ships and one location in Haga Basin, the shoal area. Put on a radiation suit, hit every single spot down there, you will eventually get yourselves a Syndicate pants. You'll also get 5 Fingers Triple Shot Rifle and the Adept Burst Shot in shoal, just farming all those locations. Eventually you'll get a lot of this stuff. You get the Jolt Sword for completing the Swordsman's Capstone quest. The 3rd capstone gets you the Jolt Sword for free. So that's how you can get this sword. So pretty much all of this can be obtained outside of, and then this Adept Disruptor Pistol comes from completing the capstones of the Bene Gesserit. So everything you see here can be found in Shoal, completing the Swordsman and Bene Gesserit quest. This was actually found in the Deep Desert. This is a very special weapon, so you won't have that. But all of this is actually Haga Basin gear that you can get without having to go to the Deep Desert. So let us go to a PvE dungeon and see if we can test this gear out. Alright, we're in a dungeon in A5 right now. Shield on, always wear protection. Let's go in here and let's see how all of this works together. Here we go. So the main trick of this is to utilize your shield to bring people to where you want them to be. We are now going to use our ability to increase our armor and reduce poise damage. Now you will want to switch in and out of your ranged weapons when, appropriate. And they're still very effective, right? This is the triple shot poison. Put poison through shield. Alright, I think we're ready to do this. So we're going to attack this guy real quick. Crippling strike. Right through. There we go, dead. This gen over here is about to get a freaking sword salad. Here we are. Every time you shoot in the game, you lower your shields. And these guys hit hard. They can take a third to half your HP in a good shot. No matter how decked out you are. If you're wearing heavy armor, that will kind of help you in this situation, but realistically, you want a build that isn't just hyper-focused and can both do PvE and PvP for going around in the desert. So we bunch of people shooting. But it's alright. We're gonna dice them. We're gonna slice them. We're gonna halt so we don't get that drill shot on us. And you gotta be real careful, because like I said, your shield will break. But you just gotta run away from the PvEs. There we go, we're back in business. Now the swordsman is actually very adept at killing other swordsmen, which is honestly what makes it even better. We haven't had to fight any of the swordsmen, but in the PvP dungeons up in DD, swordsmen are very, very common, and being able to use Retaliate and Crippling Strike on them is very efficient at dispersing them. Alright, we got some friends over here who want to play. Alright, so we have one swordsman, so watch this. I'm gonna use there we go. Now he's bleeding. You can see he's bleeding out. That probably will kill him, or at least take half of his HP. He's a strong man. But yeah, he was already pretty much damaged from the bleed. We just want to take out anyone shooting us. Try to use our environments. Oh, ooh, nice. Gotta love tech points. I love loot too. You gotta get the loot. I'm a hungry, hungry hippo. Alright, look at that. We got but he is a killer. He is just an absolute killer. He does not have any mercy for anyone. And that was it. We just cleaned that dungeon. So he has definitely become my favorite to play. Yeah, D3 is where the current PvE station is, but this is the Plastinium grade one. 10,000 meters, so we'll go there right now. A little trick, basically point yourself up. You don't need to stop your ship all the time, just point yourself up, gain altitude till you hit 100 kilometers, and dive down. Basically infinite height generation. This is how you fly in this game. See, I'm back to 624. But you can pretty much go pretty darn high, and you can do this repeatedly. So once I hit my max speed, point myself back up, keep going, keep climbing. I'm actually going to climb to the point where I hit the altitude where I'm burning fuel faster. Okay, control the temperature wings down a bit more, but look at that. See, now I'm at 688, and you can just tap forward until you hit your max kilometer. You don't have to dip down all the time like that, but you can keep going up and down that way. And I see a lot of people out in DD, and they're sitting in place going up. That's how you get killed. You gotta fly like this if you want to avoid all of the people trying to kill you. Oh no, my locomotion's about to break. Oh yeah, we're playing with fire today. This thing is beat to all hell. One wing's at 9%. I'll fix that. Yeah, it's doing okay. It's doing okay. It's at 48%. The warning was, yeah, I need to repair some of this stuff. I kind of fly until stuff breaks unless I'm going into PvP. This is not a bird I would bring into PvP because it's so beat up you get downed in a second, right? Okay, so we are here, and you can see people are kind of basing here. So we're gonna run in here and potentially have to wait for one other person to join us. Oh, nice, there's two people in here. And you know, it's a glorious day for griefers on the server, as I warned people about. You got all kinds of people just causing a ruckus, but you can usually get around some of this stuff. You just gotta climb like Spider-Man like that, turn on our shields, and I like using the rags. It makes me feel more Fremen-like, right? You know, I'm wearing the best armor in the game. I deck myself out in rags. It also helps you kind of blend in with the surroundings of the DCs. One of my favorite setups there. Alright, I hear fighting. Fighting is a good sound. So let's run through. You gotta run through this door or window here. And there's a bunch of people fighting inside, so we're gonna run straight in and help out. So this is the hardest place to fight that we can get access to test builds right now. There's a lot of good resources in these areas. 2 of us here. Here comes the next wave. There's around like 5 waves. They all get progressively harder. Alright, I'm going to use my litany against fear to increase my armor. And we're going to do something real stupid right now. Just run in and use an AoE. Get all their stamina down. Oh, good God. Oh, good God. It's not going my way. Dip out. Don't be afraid to dip out. Sometimes you need to... I hit the wrong button. Okay, let's try to take out the big dude here. This is why I like the sword. He's agile, and he's grand. Oh, good God. Okay. And you can see I got like a bit of a slow on me from what he did. I'm out of stamina. There we go. Yeah, these heavies are no joke. They will keep screwing with you. Get your stamina out. Alright. Yeah, these guys are a little tough. And you could use a ranged weapon on them, but it will expose you a bit. But there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it's best to use range so you can switch in and out. But you see, every time I do that, I'm exposing myself. This is what I hate. You got to use things situationally. These guys are beefy tough. You can see they take a lot of hits. But that's why I like playing the sword build, because you don't have to let your shields down to do damage. And this guy needs our help right here. Bunch of swordsmen here. There we go, we got one. Oh, good God. There's a lot of people.
You again? What now?
Alright, the bleed will do a lot of damage to him. This guy's really weak.
Yes, yes, it is I, Held. Listen, from up we arrested the Cyrodiil. Mistake us not for erudite people.
Alright, got him. Alright, that was good. That was good, gents. This place is a little bit harder, but you can try out your builds here. I really like the swordsman build. I use the Mentat build quite extensively, and I just... This is the wrong way. I find the swordsman really just holds his own in a lot of combat. And most likely we're going to get the pincushion gloves, because that's all I ever get. There we go, more pincushion gloves. Woo! Gauntlets. And there's some good loot in here, but mostly pincushion gauntlets. But that's the PvE dungeon that's new for everybody, because PvE zone goes up to sell E now. So now people have access to at least one blueprint of the higher tier per week without having to fight other players, and it can be gotten mass. So it's going to make them more available in the market. I recently just looked at the achievement, and only 20% of players still have been to DD. 80% of people who purchased this game have not even been to the deep desert, which is really, really crazy. But anyway, everybody, thank you for watching. Special shout out to my patrons and members. As always, stay safe out there. It's a crazy world. Have a good day.
you're back. I feel like a clutch of Centrixian flat. It's the think of the greatest spice high. Before long, you find yourself. They have, but even though in my wildest dreams, I know if you don't, there's a backup. She doesn't. She'll know what. As always.
Hey, if you conceal carry and you want to do so comfortably, you're probably going to be interested in this, the brand new Nimbus Gray Vanish holster.
Heavies, and if we're doing any PvP. The only thing that we're really using lights and heavies for damage-wise is just the rifle-type mobs. So let's focus on that everything else category, which is basically anything with a Holtzman shield. Now, as you probably know, if you have a Holtzman shield up, you're safe from any damage until you're either staggered, stunned, or your poise is broken, which is essentially staggered. I'll explain that. By default, you can pretty much take 3 attacks, and then your poise is broken. That's the default. This number, of course, can be increased. There's a few ways to do it. Prana Bindu stability is one of them. That increases by 20%. We have Litany Against Fear. There is a passive technique when you're low on health, Thrive on Danger, which is a lot of poise resist. And then just a flat one, which is kind of not much at all here, Solid Stance. These can all increase your poise up to, I believe, about 6 attacks. The thing is, poise kind of goes up and down. It's not always just 3 attacks that will break your poise. This is sort of a moving number in a fight. The key is really to just look when someone goes off bounce. Once they're off bounce, then you can slow blade attack. Now, if someone has some poise resistance, it might be 4 attacks to break, maybe even 5 attacks to break. So it's important to keep an eye on them. What is 100% reliable is skills. So something like Flying Knee is going to stagger. A Shigiwire pull is going to stagger them as well. We also have different stun skills, like the Mentat Stunner skill, which just actually puts a longer term stun on me. All these things can of course be broken. You can CC break or whatever by doing a dash. The last legitimate way that we are staggering people is with parries, which is how we're going to fight other melees and how we're going to fight players. So what's important in everything I just said is generally we're going to hit people 3 times until they're staggered, and then we can slow blade attack. If you sit there and just keep meleeing them, you're wasting your stamina, and there's no real point. It costs 5 stamina per swing, and a lot of fights just come down to stam management. And the other takeaway is using skills into slow blades. This is pretty much your objective as a melee. You're either poking 3 times, and then following up with a slow blade, or using a skill and following up with a slow blade. Unless we're killing out ranged rifle trash mobs, that's what you want to do to really optimize your damage. You don't want to be sprinting around. That's going to bring us to our next section. Stamina management is probably the toughest part of playing melee. You have to keep an eye on your bar, and you probably have to break some habits. I certainly did. I like to sprint around a lot, and it stopped my regen. The reality is everything in this game stops your regen. If you are attacking, if you are sprinting, if you're jumping, if you are shooting, if you are being shot, if you're being stabbed, anything really other than just walking, you can bandage yourself and regen. There's very few things you can do other than just idly walk and kind of pace in combat. Now, as a melee, you have to move around the room a lot too, which is why we're going to be using the Suspensor Dash skill quite a bit to move around. Rather than sprint from target to target, I will do a little dash in and I can immediately start attacking. Now, the skill is being changed on the PTS. It's going to cost 20% of your power instead of a flat amount.
Greetings,
so it's
stranger.
actually going to be more
What can I do
costly
for you?
in-game doing this dash.
My
But I've
name
tried
is
it out on
Verena
the
the
PTS.
New.
It is still
I have the distinct
absolutely worth
privilege of
doing.
serving the land
Again,
grant
combat is
representatives
a
of
big
House Finesse. Though
stamina
mine
management game.
it is not
PvP, but
untrue.
also for PvE
Our
as well.
society, as you
So to
said,
improve
our
your stamina
food
management,
decides.
work on breaking
Ours is
bad
a society.
habits. Make
Ours
sure
is,
you're
I
not
will
sprinting,
say,
doing
Altarkanen is a
unnecessary
house of
stuff.
appetites.
In between
after all.
doing combos, let your stamina regenerate as much as possible. Number 2, don't attack unnecessarily. Try to do 3 attacks into a slow blade
Welcome,
attack.
stranger.
Number 3, never
you come
dash
seeking
unnecessarily.
treatment, I have all manner
Basically,
of
don't
locally
jump from
sourced
mob to
natural
mob,
remedies
just
for
dash.
whatever
You
ails
can do it sometimes, but
Carrie
you're going to
sent
start
you.
to learn to
Well then,
jump and
you
dash.
could turn
and do
around
this
and piss right
Spencer
off to
dash
whatever
using
hole
your
she...
power
You have
instead
not
of your
seen my
stamina.
heart.
You
She
really
must
want to
be
save your
suffering
stamina
terribly.
for when you're actually staggered
If I
and
were
need
you,
to.
I would go quickly and find someone who gives a shit. Look, tell you what. Talk to Anushka Hanova. She'll point you in the right direction.
Welcome back. Because you've never every mill and every in truth we are shameless. They're not the bones of which this particular specimen me. No, that would he was a veil Krasinok's 11 hide that now hangs behind the Baron's rather ample. That's a special. Was there anything else with that? It's not my fault. The only way to get medical support and well, so if some.
You always got a drink while talking near the. What the fuck is that? Tackles watch. Hey, Shadow. Hey, you know where that... Hey. Oh, fine then. Yeah, screw paying that $2,500. Fly yourself. Oh, I guess it's over here, back home. Oh, that place again. Shit. This is gonna be fun.
interloper.